As you progress in your spinning journey, the likelihood is that you're going to want to try to use some different fibres. And one of the fibres I really love to use in my spinning is recycled Sari silk fibre. So in this video, I thought I would show you how I use recycled Sari silk when I'm spinning from a bat. And the bat I'm going to make is on my blending board, but equally you can make a bat on a drum carder as well. My name's Becca and I'm a hand spinner, dyer and knitter, and you're very welcome to my home in West Wales. Okay, so this is recycled Sari silk and it comes in lots of different colours. I've got some pinks here. And it's a bit different from spinning silk that hasn't been pre-used because it's got lots of bits in it and it's got different fibre lengths. So it's not quite the same as if you're using a silk that is just straight from a kind of a silkworm. But we're going to have a look at the bat and how I made it, and I'll also show you how I'm spinning it. These are the fibres that I've pulled out of the stash to go with my recycled Sari silk. So this is a multicoloured one, and I really liked the dusty pink, and I thought the dusty pink would work really well with some other dusty grey colours. This is bindweed and iron dyed. I want to say it's Corridel, but I'm not 100% sure. It's probably Corridel. And I did this in August 2023, and it was part of my natural dyeing experiments that I was doing all summer. Then these bits and pieces are all from my lap waist bags, and I just thought that it would be a nice contrast with the sort of the luxury of the silk to have a more sort of natural coloured wool. My blending board will comfortably take 25 grams of fibre. So I've got 15 grams of the recycled Sari silk. So I'm going to split that roughly in half, and then with the rest of my wool fibres, I'm going to make up two bats, or well, what will be two bats, and they're going to be a total of 25 grams each. So I will carry on with that process, and you probably don't need to see me weighing out fibre because it's not actually that interesting. And we'll, when I've done that, we'll go on the blending board and I'll show you how I actually put this on so that you don't have your tines completely stuck up with silk fibres, and if you put it on wrong, that's what happens. Trust me, I know, I've done it. So the first thing I do is I put on a layer of wool, and I don't have a particular preference as to what order I'm going to put this in. But what you absolutely do not want to do is have your silk as your first layer, because silk sticks to everything apart from itself. So if you put your silk on first, you have a devil of a job getting it off your tines. I'm putting quite a lot of silk on compared to wool, so it is absolutely going to be just about the last thing I put on. So I've sort of got a base layer of wool that is going to lift off when I finish making this bat. Now I'm going to spin off the side of the bat again, as I did in my last video. And it's a really good way of getting lots of air into your fibre, so making a softer yarn. I mean, silk on its own needs a lot of twist, and you're you're putting it on, you're drafting it in a worsted style. As soon as you put a bit of wool in there, you've got the option to draft it and spin it in a slightly different way. So I'm going to carry on doing this, and when I get to the silk bit I will show you. So there we go, got a base layer of wool on, and now I'm going to put on the recycled Sari silk. Now if this was kind of regular, not recycled silk, it obviously would not be quite as sort of scrappy as this is, because this is a bit scrappy. But that's sort of the fun of it, really. You know, you've got a bit of texture in there. And when this spins up, we're going to have a bit of texture, which is going to be good fun. It's going to make a really nice yarn, I think. Quite what I'm going to do with it, I haven't 100% decided. But, you know, sometimes it's just fun to play, isn't it? And come up with a project after that. I mean, I think it might be quite good for weaving. Not that I've done any weaving for ages, but that is definitely a subject for another video. So I don't know that I'm going to get all of this on really, because I'm kind of putting on quite a thick layer. And I'm going to put just a sort of another sandwich layer of wool on the top of it. So it probably isn't all going to go on. But that's fine, because we're just playing. I sort of find this a bit awkward, trying to film and kind of load the blending board. It's sort of a bit weird, because normally if I'm just doing this myself, I actually have my blending board on my lap, and I have tried to film things on my lap, but it doesn't really show what I'm doing particularly well. So it's kind of, there you go. I think that's going to be enough, and you can see there is a bit of fibre left over, but that's fine. And then just going to put on a little bit more wool over the top of it. Might just have to sort of put this down with a paintbrush to get this down onto the tines. Really never overload your tines. I mean, I don't know what that is, a bit of paper, I think. Anyway, don't overload your tines, because you will damage them. And blending boards and drum carders, because obviously you can do this on a drum carder as well. Drum carders and blending boards are expensive bits of kit, so you really want them to last. So just, there you go. Anyway, I'm going to put this layer on, and then I will come back to you when I'm lifting it off. So there you go, another layer of wool on, and we're just going to lift this up. And because we've made a wool sandwich, we are going to be left with very little on our tines. I mean, there's a bit of wool there, but it's lifting off fine. There you go. And it's sort of light and fluffy. And the way we're going to spin this is we're actually going to roll this up like this, and then spin from this end. And you can see how light and fluffy and airy it is. So hopefully by spinning like this, we're going to keep lots of air in, which is going to sort of counteract against these fibres of the silk, which can be a bit dense. There you go. I'm going to do the next one, and when I've done that, I will join you on the spinning wheel. I put lots of air in this fibre when I was blending it, and so the last thing I want to do when I'm spinning it up is take all that air out. I want a really soft, fluffy yarn. So what I've done is I've turned the tension up So I'm going to have a low twist, which will really help keep the air in it, because you're not going to get that ropey effect that you can get if you over twist. It's tempting to over twist when you've got silk, because silk does need quite a lot of twist to hold it together. But because we've sandwiched it in between the wool fibres, hopefully they're going to be held together by the wool fibres. Now I'm going to show you from a couple of different angles how I'm spinning this, and I just have one thought on technique and the way we all spin. There are no fibre arts police. Just do what works for you. Sure, you can look at techniques and you can try them, but don't worry too much, particularly when you're starting out, if you don't get them right 100% of the time. And the other thing I want you to remember is that up until 2007, none of us did fractal spinning. Nobody even knew what it was. It was something that a fibre artist introduced to the community. So when you're experimenting, always have that in mind, is that there is no one right way of being a fibre artist, and you could be the person that introduces us to a new way of spinning. So I thought I would knit it up, and that's what it looks like. I'd sort of thought I'd use it for weaving, but I actually really like it knitted up, so I think I might make some more of this, and actually I think I'm gonna have a go at a shrug or something along that lines that doesn't need an awful lot of fibre. So that's what it looks like. The next thing I like to do is share a finished project, and these are fingerless mitts that I made for my partner. And they were spun from a blend of things from the stash, and also I'd done some dyeing experiments in the summer using the tops of carrots, because we do like to grow quite a lot of our own veg, so I had lots of carrot tops. So that's sort of the green, that's carrot top, and they turned out pretty well. He's very pleased with them and has been wearing them since I finished. So the next thing is a work in progress, and this is the bobble hat, and I shared this from the book Knitting in the North, Knits from the North. I'll put the link in the description, and I demonstrated making this blend and spinning it up, and I will link the video for this spin. I think it's above. if I can work out how to do it, I think it will be linked above. So there you go. So that's it's progressing quite well. I've been doing lots of other things other than sort of knitting. I've been doing a fair bit of painting, and of course we're losing the light, which means that at this time of the year my time is really condensed. So I'm trying to get all the things that I need to get done in really quite a short space of time. So my hack for stitch markers, if you've run out of stitch markers, paper clips. I know it's a bit scrappy, but actually they work fine. So there you go. I reckon I'll get that finished this week. As I say, I've just been so busy with other projects. I mean, we're kind of getting towards Christmas, and I really need to get my Christmas cooking underway. So there you go. So this next part of the podcast, I wanted to make this into a time for sharing content and books and things that I've been enjoying in the week. And I have been reading this. This is The Art of Tapestry Weaving by Becca. And it really is a great book. So many techniques, lots of really great inspiration. And I am totally a beginner when it comes to weaving. I did for a time think that it was going to be my thing, and I bought myself a really big rigid heddle loom, and it just sat there. I think tapestry weaving might be my thing, because weaving scarves, yeah, I just don't think it's going to be my thing at all. The loom I bought was far too big. Maybe if I'd started with a smaller loom, it might have been okay, but yeah, I think tapestry that's what I'm going to do for the next few months and really explore that. And as I'm getting a little more confident, I shall probably share some of those projects with you as well. I hope you found this video useful, and if there's any techniques or tips that you would like me to cover, then just drop a comment below and I'll see if I can work it into a video. I have had a request for spinning from the fold, and I think I've probably shared in another video. I mean, I have done it. It's not something I do very often, but I am happy to actually share the way I approach it and give you a slightly more in-depth video than the last one that I did. So until next time, thank you for watching, happy creating, and I'll see you really soon.